This is the story about the birth of a VITAS Memory Bear.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Alex.
Thank you so much for being able to come in.
Oh, thanks for having me here.
No problem at all.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Special clothing from the deceased is delivered to the volunteer coordinator with the paperwork to track the clothing.
Really very much. It's been a very trying time, and this really makes things so much nicer. And the fact that the people can do this is just wonderful and amazing.
Yeah, the bears have some magical healing powers, and I'm glad that we're able to offer these up to you and your family.
So these are the shirts that everyone has chosen, like 4 bears.
Okay.
And like to have, you know, the shirts incorporated into all the bears.
Okay.
And then in one of the shirts, we really want to have the Yosemite on them also. And then I understand that the seamstresses that you have really incorporate the colors and come up with their own designs, which is perfect as long as these designs are incorporated somehow. Really is going to make it wonderful.
It's great that you brought so many different colors as well, because they really like to bring some of that into the bears. It gives them a little bit more personality.
Right.
And it allows them to let their creativity flow and see what speaks to them in the shirts.
Perfect.
And being able to put those into the bear. So we're just going to complete an order form so that we can get all of that detailed out, and that way when they come in they've got all of their instructions here.
Excellent. Okay.
And if it's okay, if they have questions, can we have them give you a call?
Yes, that would be perfect.
Terrific. Okay, so I'm going to have you complete the top information here, the name of the person we're making the bears in memory of, and then your contact information there below. And then we'll just have you sign here that our turnaround time is about 8 weeks and that everything is clean. Okay.
All right.
It's as simple as that.
All right.
So
thank you.
we'll place the bears in order of how we receive them. That's how they go to the volunteers. Once the bears are done, I'll give you a call and let you know, and the chaplain will bring those back out to you, unless you'd like to come in and pick them up here. That's your option.
I'll decide then when they call. It'd be great.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks so much, Ross.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much for coming in today.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
The bags are marked with a date delivered and placed in the volunteer cupboard. Volunteers come to the office, pick up a bag of clothing, and copy the tracking paperwork, one for the coordinator and one for the volunteer. Sewers read the directions written on the paperwork and prepare the material for cutting. The fabric is carefully assessed to ensure there is enough to complete the bear. Sometimes multiple garments are used for each bear. This mixing and matching provides interest and diversity to each bear. Careful positioning of any design from the fabric is taken into consideration at this stage. Many times the garments need to be stabilized to limit stretch and distortion to the bear. The stabilizer usually has heat fusibility. Stabilizer is ironed on to each piece before assembly can begin. The face is usually the first thing to be made. The eyes are sewn on using buttons or embroidery or glue. Then the nose is either sewn or glued on at the discretion of the volunteer. The ears are sewn next. Then they're attached to the head. Once the face is done, the back of the head is sewn on, and the head is turned right side out. Next come the paws and the rest of the arm. A space is left unsewn to stuff later. The arms are then turned right side out. The The arms are then sewn to the head and the top half of the bear comes to life. The parts that make up the front of the body are sewn together. The bottom of the bear is sewn together and a part is left open to stuff. A VITAS label is sewn to the back with a warning that this bear is not intended for children under 3 because it contains small parts like buttons or noses. Then it's time for the legs to be sewn. Many volunteers double sew the top of the foot because this area is clipped to sit properly. A space is left unsewn to stuff later. The feet are pinned onto the leg before being sewn on. This is one of the hardest parts for the sewers because of the tight turns involved. Then the legs are turned right side out and pressed open. Next, the legs are attached to the front of the body. The back is sewn to the front. Now the head is stuffed inside the body and pinned in place, making sure the head is on straight. Now comes the hard part. The head is sewn to the body. The tight space makes this the most difficult step in the process. Now it's time for the birth of the bear. It could be a breech birth or a normal birth, you never know. Voila! Now comes the stuffing of the bear. Lots of stuffing is placed through the back of the bear to fill the head and the body. Then the extremities are stuffed through the opening left when sewing the parts together. Next, the open seams are sewn by hand. Last, a lint remover is used to remove all the little stuffing hairs that remain on the outside. A hang tag of greeting is attached, and the bears and the paperwork are returned to the volunteer coordinator.
Tell me what it's like to deliver a bear and the family's reaction.
Well, I always feel it's like a celebration almost, because people or they cry or they laugh, but it's always celebration. So it's like birthday party, you could say. And of course I delivered those bears probably about 3-4 months after the death happened. So people had some time to distance themselves from this event, and then they could we're more relaxed. And of course when we opened the bag, and I always promised them, oh, you'll be so excited and you'll be so pleasantly surprised when you open it. And they always are. They open and they look and they sit down, and then we stop talking for a while. And then we it starts pouring out most of the time. So I just sit and listen. And we just look, oh look, this is Dad's pyjama which we hated so much. Oh, we see, oh look, this is the shirt which he, and we start talking about the trips that we made. We start talking about the places we visited. So it's just event. It's a big event, and I'm always fascinated because I know this is just gonna make my day.
When you explain the program, what are their reactions initially to that when you're even first talking about the bears?
Well, people are sometimes a little bit maybe confused. I mean, okay, so what does it mean? What do you mean I'll have to give the shirts and sometimes at the beginning when death just happened, it seems almost sacrilegious to give some things to be cut and so, because it just happened. It's just, you can't touch this theme too much. But after you explain it to them, and then they kind of talk with family members most of the time. First of all, we remember children. Oh, grandchildren would like to have them. It, you know, this toy kind of connected probably with the child immediately. But when you deliver them, they don't want to give them to grandchildren anymore because it becomes, they see the product and then they realize, oh wow, this is kind of my dad's impersonation, if you want to. So it's, at the beginning it's hard, but they, after explanation, and especially after they get them, it just changes everything.
Now, if I recall, we made bears for your mother-in-law?
No, actually for my mother.
For your mother?
Yeah.
Tell me about those bears.
Well, yeah. It was kind of 2 years after, probably. So it brought back a lot of things. And as a bereavement specialist, I really, it made me better chaplain, that's for sure. I really realized that we are not gone, I just don't see them for a while. And this is a big thing to realize, because it just bridges this life with another life, with the place where we went. And this is a wonderful feeling to have in your heart. It just somehow puts things into the places where we belong. You could put your foot on the ground and feel it's still there.